everyone. Welcome to Live Interactive English, and this is Karen.
This is Shane.
And today we're looking at a story, right?
We are. It's called The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. And this is part 2.
That's right.
Okay, so if you haven't watched part 1, you need to go back and maybe just remind yourself if you already have watched it, but you need to know what was going on before. So let's continue this story, huh?
Okay, well, we know that there is a man, right?
Right.
Named Smiley who likes to gamble. But are you the gambling type?
Oh, well, not really. I just do not like to lose money.
I don't like to lose money either.
Well, will you play like during Chinese New Year or something? Will you play with just like very small amounts of money? Would that be okay?
Like $1 coins, yes.
Like $1 coins.
That's okay.
It's okay, but if it starts becoming like
$50 coin, that's not okay.
Same here. I don't like losing real money.
Exactly, because I work so hard for every single penny. I don't want to lose it just like that.
So have you ever been to a place like Las Vegas or casinos or something?
Well, I have been to the casino. I remember once, and then I played one of the table games.
Yeah.
And then I had $5 Canadian, and I lost my $5 Canadian, and I was very, very upset. So I told myself I was never going to play any games anymore.
The first time I gambled, I actually won a lot of money.
Beginner's luck.
Beginner's luck, yeah. My girlfriend's mother, I was just 21 and I could gamble now, so she took me there and we went inside and she gave me like $100 US.
Okay.
And I was playing the quarter machines.
The slot machines?
The slot machines, and I won $500 US from one quarter.
500! Wow, you were so lucky.
But I just said, I'm stopping now. And then I just took my money and then yay. But I still won't gamble. I never gambled after that in a casino.
Really? Yeah. So you're not greedy, right?
Well, not that greedy.
Okay, that's good because I think that's how it becomes really, really dangerous, right?
True.
If you're greedy and then you start losing a lot more money.
Okay, well, let's get back into the story with Smiley.
All right.
While Smiley was in the swamp, the stranger had an idea. He opened Daniel's mouth and filled it with lead shot. When Smiley returned with a new frog, he gave it to the stranger. Both men then lined their frogs up next to each other on the ground. On the count of 3, they touched their frogs to startle them into jumping. The new frog immediately leaped off, but much to Smiley's surprise, Daniel didn't budge. Confused, Smiley handed over the $40 as promised, and the stranger quickly left town with his winnings. As he left, the man called out, "I still don't see what's so special about that frog." Smiley scratched his head and thought to himself, what could possibly have thrown Daniel off today? Is there something wrong with him?
So today we are looking at part 2 of the celebrated jumping frog of Calaveras County. Ooh, we're on part 2, right?
Right, so we've got this frog that is owned by Smiley, who loves to bet, and he has trained this frog to jump really high, and he has actually bet a stranger that his frog can outjump any other frog in Calaveras. So he's gone to get a frog for the stranger, but left the frog with the stranger.
That's right.
So while Smiley was in the swamp, the stranger had an idea. He opened Daniel's mouth and filled it with lead shots. So that's just like small pellets of lead, like small little balls of lead, okay? When Smiley returned with a new frog, he gave it to the stranger.
That's cheating.
That is cheating.
Okay, well, let's continue.
That's why you don't get involved in gambling and gambling with people because it's just not good stuff.
Exactly, and people would do a lot of things just to try to win, right? Okay, so both men then lined their frogs up next to each other on the ground. On the count of 3, they touched their frogs to startle them into jumping. The new frog immediately leaped off. But much to Smiley's surprise, Daniel didn't budge. Okay. So they touched their frog to startle them. What does that mean?
So to startle means to do something unexpected that surprises or could sometimes worry a person or an animal.
Like, right? That's right.
So, for example, she was concentrating on her book and his voice startled her.
Sometimes that happens.
Right.
And then, remember, Daniel didn't budge. So to budge means to move or shift. So for example, the mule wouldn't budge, means it wouldn't move.
Wouldn't move, it wouldn't go anywhere.
That's right.
Well, I think we know why, because he was filled full of lead shots.
Exactly.
Okay, so continuing. Confused, Smiley handed over the $40 as promised, and the stranger quickly left town with his winnings.
$40, like we said, back then it's a lot of money, right?
He just handed it over because it was a bet, so he's an honorable man, He didn't try to get out of it, right? So the stranger left the town with his winnings. So winnings is, you can use the word to refer to the money that someone wins in a competition or by gambling. So for example, you can say, I have come to collect my winnings.
That's right. And confused, remember how he was really confused, right? So what does that mean?
If you're confused, you don't know what to do or do not understand what is happening or is being said. So for example, Jenny was confused why the letter hadn't arrived yet.
Yeah, that's right. And Smiley was confused because usually Daniel would jump really, really high in the competition, right?
And he didn't even budge this time.
Exactly.
Weird.
Okay, let's read on and find out what happens next. As he left, the man called out, I still don't see what's so special about that frog. And he knows why. He's cheating. Smiley scratched his head and thought to himself, what could possibly have thrown Daniel off today? Is there something wrong with him? Oh, to throw somebody off means they're not performing, they're like how they usually do, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so he scratched his head. So to scratch means like to use something sharp, such as a nail. It could be your fingernail. Against the skin with your fingertip. You go across your skin like that. So, for example, Desmond was scratching his arm all night after it was bitten by insects.
And a lot of people will scratch their heads when they are confused, when they don't know what's happening, right?
It's a typical way to show someone's confused. Okay, why don't we go ahead and take a break and we'll come back and find out what poor Smiley's going to do.
All right.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。故事里面的 Smiley 他很爱赌博，那他跟一个陌生人打赌说，如果有别的青蛙能跳得比他的青蛙 Daniel 还要高，他就给陌生人$40。接着他把 Daniel 交给陌生人保管，然后他去沼泽帮陌生人抓青蛙来比赛。好，当 Smiley 在沼泽里的时候呢，陌生人有了一个点子，他就打开这只 Daniel 的嘴巴，往里面塞满了那种铅弹。接着 Smiley 就带了一只新的青蛙回来送给陌生人，然后他们把青蛙并排摆在地上，数到3的时候，他们就触碰青蛙来吓他们，让他们可以跳起来。那新的青蛙立刻就跳开来了。可是让 Smiley 非常惊讶的是，他的 Daniel 竟然完全不动。好，我们先看到文中的 lead shot。 它是不可数名词，来指这个铅弹、小铅球。那 L-E-A-D 在这里念作 lead， 要注意发音，它是指铅的意思。那么 Shane 老师在提到这个铅弹、铅球的时候呢，他提到这个 pellet，P-E-L-L-E-T pellet， 它表示小颗粒或是球状物。那补充单字 startle， 它表示使惊吓，使大吃一惊。那么 budge 则是表达使移动、挪动的意思。Karen 老师刚刚说到一个例句是 The mule wouldn't budge。那只骡子就是不移动，那么 mule 就是骡子的意思哦。好，那么现在 Smiley 感到很困惑，不过他有按照承诺交出$40。陌生人拿了钱就马上离开了，然后接着 Smiley 就搔一搔头，心里想着今天到底是什么事情让他的 Daniel 失常呢？好，我们看看课文单字 confused， 它是形容词，形容困惑的或是混乱的。那么 scratch 表示搔或者是抓 ，scratch one's head 就是用搔头、抓头那种意象去表达感到困惑啊、搔头苦思的意思。好，这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是。To somebody's 加上情绪名词，这样的用法是副词片语，用来描述句子里面的事件带给某人的感受，常常用逗号来跟句子隔开。那也可以把它改写成 to the 情绪名词 of somebody。好，那我们看一下常见的搭配情绪名词有 surprise 表示意外、惊讶 ，disappointment 是失望 ，joy 高兴 ，regret 懊悔。relief 安心松口气等等。举例来说 ，much to her disappointment, she didn't get her dream job. 令她非常失望的是，她没有得到她梦寐以求的工作。那补充一下，我们在 to 的前面加上 much， 就是用来强调非常或是很的意思。第二重点是。throw somebody off 或者是 throw off somebody 可以表达不同的意思。那第一个意思就是表示某个出乎预料之外或是突发的状况，表示说使某人分心、困惑或是不知所措。例如He was completely thrown off by the question. 那个问题让他完全不知所措。那第二个意思可以表达出摆脱或是甩掉，像是甩掉追踪者的意思。例如He tried to throw off his pursuer by blending into the crowd. 他试图混入人群当中来摆脱跟踪他的人。好，接回课文中。
Then, Smiley noticed his frog seemed strangely lumpy. Picking it up, he realized that Daniel weighed nearly 5 pounds. He turned it over, and all the lead came tumbling out of the animal's mouth. Though Smiley took off furiously after the cheat, he couldn't catch the man.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so before the break, this got pretty exciting. All right, so Smiley left his frog with this man and came back with a new frog, right? Then they started their competition, and Smiley's frog didn't do anything. It just sat there, right? It wouldn't budge at all. And, you know, the other man's frog jumped, so he lost his money.
That's right.
$40.
And the man left town with his winnings.
He took off, right? Okay, and Smiley just left scratching his head like, what happened? This is weird.
Looking and feeling all confused.
Yes.
Okay, let's find out what happens next. Then Smiley noticed his frog seemed strangely lumpy.
Lumpy. Okay, so to be lumpy means that you are covered or filled with lumps. So what's a lump? A lump is like a piece or mass of solid matter without a regular shape. So it's kind of like doop, 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 or have like no particular shape at all.
That's
so for example, the mixture will look lumpy because of the rice. So sometimes if you're like making cookies or making like a cake batter, you'll notice that it's not very smooth. There'll be little lumps inside the batter.
That's right. That means you have to keep mixing until it's not lumpy anymore.
All right, so his frog seems lumpy. Continue.
Okay, so picking it up, he realized that Daniel weighed nearly 5 pounds. So I guess he weighed more, right? He feels heavier.
5 pounds is pretty heavy for the average frog, so he knew something must have happened. Okay.
Exactly.
Continuing. He turned it over, and all the lead came tumbling out of the animal's mouth.
Oh, it's a lead shot, right?
The lead shot. Okay. Though Smiley took off furiously after the cheat, he couldn't catch the man.
Because the man already left town, right?
Yeah.
So to tumble, it usually means to suddenly topple over or trip and fall to the ground. But they're describing it as the lead shot falling out of the mouth just like that.
Right.
So for example, the toy car tumbled down the hill.
Yeah, it kind of has this idea of just like.
That's right.
So furiously. Okay, so of course Smiley is furious that he got tricked, right? So furiously is an adverb, just meaning in a very angry way. So for example, you can say the two men argued furiously for a long time. So they're very, very angry. All right, we have a what do you think question here.
That's right. So what do you think question is, do you think Smiley stopped gambling after this story? Why or why not? Okay, maybe I'll go first. I think, yes, he has learned his lesson and he will stop gambling.
But why? Why do you think he's going to stop gambling? Just because he learned a lesson?
Because, well, you know, maybe the people that you gamble with, people might, you know, might be cheating or something like that. It might be unfair, right? And then in the end, you will lose.
Now, I think Smiley, judging by his personality,
you don't think so?
I don't think he's going to stop gambling.
No.
And I think in this case, he's just going to try to be smarter about the way that he gambles. I don't think he'll think, I need to get some money back. I lost $40. That's a lot. How am I going to get this money back? I'm just going to gamble more, but I'm going to be more careful. I don't know. I'm not very optimistic about Smiley.
Really? So do you think it's because of his personality? Right. So he's not going to change. But people do change though.
Okay. Well, we will never know. Hopefully he changes, but that's all the time we have for today. And you don't have to gamble to know that we are going to be back with more lessons, so make sure you come back to Live Interactive English.
That's right, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Smiley 的青蛙今天失常，一动也不动。那他就注意到他的青蛙似乎异常的笨拙沉重，他就把青蛙抓起来，发现 Daniel 有将近5磅重然后把它翻过来之后，所有的这个铅弹都从 Daniel 嘴巴里面滚出来了。Smiley 愤怒的去追那一名骗子，但是没能抓住他。好，我们最后来看看单字 tumble。tumble 它是动词，表示滚下、跌落或是有坠落、暴跌的意思。Karen 老师在讲解时，他用到 topple 这个动词 ，T-O-P-P-L-E。topple 可以指倒下、使倒下、倒塌的意思。好，那么 furiously 这个副词则表示暴怒的、激烈的或是猛烈的。那补充单字 lumpy。它是形容看似沉重笨拙的，或是可以形容有块状物的。如果去掉 y 变成 lump， 这个名词则可以表达团、块或者是肿块、隆起。好，那这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，这边我们来介绍 take off after somebody or something， 这表示迅速开始追捕什么什么。像 the dog saw a bird and took off after it， 狗看到一只鸟，立刻开始追捕它。那我们这边一个延伸学习是 take off 可以当不及物用的时候，它表示突然离开、走掉，那也可以指说飞机起飞的意思。我们就造2个例句 ：He took off without saying goodbye。他没说再见就突然离开。The plane took off half an hour ago. 飞机在半小时前起飞了。好，那以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
While Smiley was in the swamp, the stranger had an idea. He opened Daniel's mouth and filled it with lead shot. When Smiley returned with a new frog, he gave it to the stranger. Both men then lined their frogs up next to each other on the ground. On the count of 3, they touched their frogs to startle them into jumping. The new frog immediately leaped off, but much to Smiley's surprise, Daniel didn't budge. Confused, Smiley handed over the $40 as promised, and the stranger quickly left town with his winnings. As he left, the man called out, "I still don't see what's so special about that frog." Smiley scratched his head and thought to himself, what could possibly have thrown Daniel off today? Is there something wrong with him? Then, Smiley noticed his frog seemed strangely lumpy. Picking it up, he realized that Daniel weighed nearly 5 pounds. He turned it over, and all the lead came tumbling out of the animal's mouth. Though Smiley took off furiously after the cheat, he couldn't catch the man.
Hey everybody! Today, this is going to be fun. We're going to the Taipei Zoo. Now this makes me think about animal sounds. And animals sound different in English than they do in Chinese. So how about some examples? So a dog, what sound does a dog make? In English, it goes woof, woof, woof. A cat, pretty similar. Our cats go meow. How about a frog? Ribbit, ribbit. How about a horse? Neigh, neigh. So as you can see, our animals in a different language make different sounds as well. So why don't we go check out the Taipei Zoo and see what kind of animals they have. The Taipei Zoo is located at the very last station of the Brown MRT line, and it is based in a valley in Wenshan District. The zoo was established during the Japanese-ruled period, and now it is more than 100 years old. The zoo used to be located in the Yuanshan area, but due to a growing number of animals and a lack of space, it ended up moving to the Wenshan district in 1986. The zoo has 8 outdoor display areas and 6 indoor display venues. You can see penguins, koalas, pandas, elephants, hippos, monkeys, and all other kinds of very popular animals. The Taipei Zoo is also involved in education, research, and conservation, so it's great for the environment and for the animals. It is just a wonderful place to have a good time. Who does not love going to the zoo? The zoo is probably one of my favorite places to visit. I love seeing all the animals. My favorite animal is probably the monkey, because they're always so exciting and they put on a show and they like to throw things. Oh, but there are so many great animals to see at the Taipei Zoo. So if you've never been, what are you waiting for? And I'll see you there.